The apocalypse, Ragnarok, Judgment Day, the sun swallowing the earth, the end. All different ways of signifying the same thing, Doomsday. Across cultures, time, and space lie a shared concept of the end of days. It has intrigued the greatest of minds and has been studied intensely generation by generation, captivating the brightest who seek to study trends and predict when their end may befall them. The instinct to grasp what lies beyond in time, to be aware of trends and to accurately predict the future. Enter today's age. With the explosion of mass media and engaging mediums, information access has risen to levels never before seen. The age of information has placed the answers to life's questions at our fingertips. And with that comes the phenomenon aptly named Doomscrolling. Doomscrolling is defined as the obsessive consumption of negative information through social media. It saps the energy of readers and breeds a culture of pessimism that seeps into society. Why go to school and work hard if the world's going to end anyways? Do you see the problem? In 1968, communications professor George Gerbner established the Cultural Indicators Project in order to empirically prove the correlation between media consumption and perceptions on reality. He divided participants into 3 groups of media consumers: light TV viewers, under 2 hours a day, medium viewers, between 2 to 4 hours a day, and heavy viewers, more than 4 hours a day. Gerbner found that heavy viewers were more likely to experience shyness, loneliness, and depression at higher rates than others. His principal finding was that the more time people spend living in the television world, the more likely they are to believe social reality aligns with reality portrayed on television, leading him to formulate the mean world syndrome, the phenomenon in which people who watch moderate to large amounts of television are more likely to perceive the world as a dangerous and frightening place.
I'm afraid to go down the street at night. I'm afraid to go into the subways. I'm afraid of strangers. I try to cross the street when I see somebody that I think may be dangerous to me.
Regardless of political affiliation, doomscrolling is present within all elements of society. It has contributed to rising rates of depression, especially in youth, and fears regarding an uncertain future. Essentially, it is a modern version of religious eschatology without heaven, only hell on earth. It functions as a strategy to gather information in the face of a perceived impending doom and fear. None embody this concept better than r/collapse. This popular subreddit is centered around users discussing the collapse of society and the globe at large. Essentially, doomscrolling. Users post content regarding societal ills and their role in an inevitable collapse. The same way we watch the weather forecast and end up finishing the news segment, r/collapse poses as helpful information, then imparting doom and gloom upon Redditors. Posts filled with rampant speculation and apocalyptic predictions. But here's the thing, it's vastly easier to point out a problem than to propose solutions. Negativity draws viewers and readers. It's human nature to bias negativity. Studies show we exhibit a proclivity towards negative information and a propensity to utilize said information more often. We tend to remember negative experiences and react more strongly to negative stimuli. Take for instance your average news site filled to the brim with negative stories. These scary sounding titles drive clicks and entice viewers to read them. This practice of mean world syndrome has boosted online and cable news viewership. In 2020, Fox News' average audience increased by 61%, CNN's increased by 72%, and MSNBC's grew by 28%, fueled in part by a rise in sensationalism and negativity-based reporting, further incentivizing the cycle. Social media companies like Reddit, where r/collapse is located, saw ad revenue grow to $41.5 billion during 2020. The premise is simple. Negativity drives clicks and engagement, therefore it encourages doomscrolling. Even this video uses a negative title to entice viewers to click. The psychological effects from doomscrolling and mean world syndrome can be observed on a daily basis. It has led to an explosion of stress, depression, and anxiety disorders. Across the board, countries are noticing an uptick in mental health issues. According to a survey by the American Psychological Association, 81% of respondents cite the future of the nation as a significant source of stress. However, excessive worrying overtraining and stress carry real and lasting effects on the body, which can lead to issues such as hypertension, heart attack. The rapid consumption of negative media creates a negative perception of reality. The more an individual doom scrolls on social media, this warps their view of the world around them. It has created new echo chambers of nihilism which have harmed a generation of youth. These individuals feel a disconnect from society and join a growing counterculture of pessimism and cynicism. Introducing Doomers. Doomers are individuals, typically young males, who have succumbed to apathy and hopelessness. Devoid of meaning, the Doomer generation sees no purpose in many of life's conventional pleasures, such as getting married, owning a home, etc. They view these things as becoming more and more inaccessible and see no purpose in achieving them. Fueled by a lack of meaning and an ever-polarized world of impending doom, Doomers are the end result of doom scrolling. Modern phenomena such as the rise of black pill ideology, anti-natalism, and nihilism can be attributed to this ever-growing trend. US colleges and universities had 1.5 million fewer students compared with 5 years ago, and men accounted for 71% of the decline. This growing trend has led to a polarization within society and has created a deep rift. According to Kirk Schneider of Columbia University, existential fear appears to be at the heart of what derives polarization. In other words, the more fearful individuals become, the more they strive to become more informed and become addicted to doom scrolling. If doom scrolling is so horrible, what can we do about it? I myself have personally felt the effects of doom scrolling firsthand and still struggle with it. After much thought and deliberation, I've developed a 3-step plan to counteract doom scrolling. Number 1, understanding that you will have no effect on it. As an individual, your time is being wasted through obsession with things that are simply out of your control. Stop worrying about the world and start worrying about yourself. We use these global events as deflections to justify our own shortcomings and neglect self-improvement. Step 2, disconnect. Begin a digital detox and reduce your exposure to negative media. All of the harmful effects from doom scrolling are exacerbated by an overexposure to information. As Dr. Gribner found, heavy viewers were found to be more likely to develop loneliness, anxiety, and depression. And step number 3, gratefulness. No matter how severe of a threat you feel looms in the future, be thankful for what you have and the life you're able to live. This week's featured comment comes from Anti-Loompa from our video, The Dark Side of Live Streaming. He writes, "So what can we do about it? What can fans or streamers do? What should platforms do?"
For streamers, exploitation is highly profitable, so they're pretty much incentivized to do so. Same for platforms. Can fans do anything about it though?
That's a great question. I think it's symptomatic of a larger issue within these fans' lives. They become addicted and become genuinely lonely and need a connection with someone, so they form one with the man on the screen. I think reassessing our relationships with technology and introspection are the best solutions. If you guys want to see your comments featured, drop your thoughts below. Make sure to like the video and subscribe so we can continue producing more of this type of content. As always, stay solid and remember, don't surf.